Hey everyone, today is Tuesday, June 21st, which makes today the first day of summer, and I'm here at Harbour Square Park West in downtown Toronto. And just over there are the Toronto Islands. And there's a look over at Harbour Square Park East. And since it's such a nice day and it being the first day of summer, I thought it would be appropriate to start this one from down by the lake. And it's a rather hot, at least by Toronto standards, 29 degrees Celsius. I think there's someone having a good time in this Death Star-esque sculpture, I guess you could call it. And just north of here is Queens Quay West. For this one, I'll be heading north up the entirety of York Street. And that'll take me up to City Hall, and then I think I'll head north up Elizabeth Street, maybe to College, then over to College Station. And there's the Harbourfront Center just across the way there, although you can't really see much of it. Danger, please use sidewalk. Okie dokie. We've got a plane taking off from the island airport. And there is the Empress of Canada. And this area that sits just south of the financial district is known as the South Core. And you'll often see people wandering around the waterfront eating these beaver tails. And this is where you'd get them. There's a look at the menu, but they don't have prices listed. Looks like they finally opened up the waterfront trail along this stretch. For the past few months it's been under construction, which has made cycling along the waterfront pretty annoying. And there's a look east along Queens Quay West. And these two towers on the left are the Water Club towers. And I think they were constructed about 18 years ago. And they were part of a original series of condos that kickstarted quite the boom in the South Core. There's the future Love Park. And up until 2018, that housed a highway off-ramp that was taken down. And here's Harbour Street. And I posted a video that walked along Harbour not too long ago. I went down Simcoe Street. And then I walked east along all of Harbour Street, which starts just a block to the west of here. And here's that peculiar design. I wondered about this. So you have a bidirectional bike lane. Kind of feeds into a sidewalk and then resumes on the other side. And here we've got pedestrians guided to be on just this side of the sidewalk. Whoever designed that was smoking something pretty good. There is 1 York. So York Street's about 1.3 kilometers, and it runs between Queens Quay West, which is behind me, up to Queen Street. And it terminates at Osgoode Hall. There's a bus that shuttles you between Union Station and the Island Airport. And this is Lakeshore Boulevard West I am crossing, and the Gardner Expressway I'm heading underneath. I think I read somewhere that post-pandemic rush hour traffic has pretty much resumed to its pre-pandemic levels. There's Maple Leaf Square. And here is Bremner Boulevard. Although it turns into Raptors Way here. That leads into Scotiabank Arena. And the Sky Dome is just off to the west there, along with the CN Tower and Ripley's Aquarium and the Roundhouse. And this is the rail corridor I'm currently walking underneath. And just on the right, you can access the York Street GO train concourse, as that's part of Union Station. This is Front Street coming up, and everything south of Front Street up until the late 1800s was previously Lake Ontario. There's been a number of infill and land reclamation projects since the 1800s that has now filled in what is now the Toronto waterfront. And I am glad I wore sunscreen today. Here's Front Street West. Here's a look at the Royal York Hotel. And that is Union Station just on the right. There's a look southbound York Street. So starting from here up to Queen, York is a one-way street heading northbound. Although just to the left it sort of splinters into two, and that becomes University Avenue. There's that airport shuttle. And this is the little-known Piper Street. And just on the right, the Royal York at the time was the tallest building in the British Commonwealth when it was constructed. And that was back in 1927. It was later surpassed by Commerce Court North. So we are out of the South Core and into the financial district. And during the pandemic, this hotel was converted into a shelter, and I think that status remains. That's the Strathcona. There is the TD Center, just on the right. And this is King Street West, and just a block to the west of here, St. Andrews subway station. And about 5 minutes walking to the right, you'll find yourself at King Station. And we're at Adelaide Street. And looking west or east here is always one of my favorite views. And it's worth noting there is a rather large underground path network under the financial district. In fact, it's the largest of its kind in the world. On the hotter and colder days, you'll find a lot of people down there walking to Union Station rather than being up at street level. And here's a keg restaurant. I used to work in First Canadian Place, which is right around the corner from here, and on my first day on the job, my boss and a senior member on the team took me to this keg for lunch.
And I was like, I hope.
A lot of restaurants in this area rely on those corporate credit cards being used to pay for things. And I don't think they fared particularly well during the pandemic. Probably worse than most restaurants. There's the Four Seasons Center for the Performing Arts. And this is Richmond Street. And way back in the early 1900s, this site used to be a public school. And on the right is the Sheridan Hotel. I have not yet done a video through here. And we are at the northern terminus of York Street. And a look to the east. And the way this hotel meets the street is quite literally brutal. It is done in the brutalist style. This is probably my least favorite stretch of Queen Street West. And this is Osgoode Hall. There's a person hopefully just taking a nap on the lawn there. And it's not uncommon to see people taking wedding photos and that sort of thing here. This was originally built in the early 1800s, I think 1830s. And it's designated a National Historic Site of Canada. It's currently occupied by the Law Society of Ontario, the Ontario Court of Appeal, I'm trying to remember, and I think the Ontario Superior Court of Justice, they call it. Sadly, it was not open as part of Doors Open. I would have liked to have gone in there and taken a look around. And there is New City Hall and Nathan Phillips Square just in front of it, as well as Old City Hall off in the background. I'll take a quick detour through here, and I'll head north up to Elizabeth Street. And for some reason during the pandemic, the city had closed these walkways. I think I'll come back here and do a dedicated video around this property, as it's quite neat. And there's a large park on the second floor of City Hall that's accessible to the public. It's a nice green space. And it's connected to the Sheraton Hotel. And I don't know if that stairwell over there is open, so I'll head down this one. There's a statue honoring Sir Winston Churchill. And this is Chestnut Street. I'm going to head over to Elizabeth. And prior to the 1950s, this area was a Chinatown. It was a common belief amongst city council that Chinatown was essentially a slum, and it was expropriated to make way for the new city hall. That was during a time when a lot of cities were trying to eradicate their Chinatowns. Fortunately for Toronto, a few more sprung up when this one was cleared out. The main one just to the west of here at Dundas and Spadina, as well as a smaller East Chinatown over at Gerrard and Broadview. That one's just outside of downtown. And here is Dundas Street. There is no marked pedestrian crossing here. And north of Dundas, Elizabeth, is a one-way street. I'll just head a block over to the crossing here and navigate it this way. This is an area known as Little Tokyo. There's an excellent Japanese barbecue restaurant called Gayubi just on the left. And for my money, that's the best of its kind in the city. We are back to Elizabeth Street. Walking between the old Toronto bus terminal here. And this is closed down since a new bus terminal has opened up at CIBC Square. And it's on either side of me here, and it dates back to 1931. There's the unique Art Deco style main entrance. A block to the east of here on Bay Street. And I'm entering an area of the city known as the Discovery District, named after 4 rather prominent hospitals in the area. And this on the right, I think, is part of a sick kids hospital development. And I think this on the left might be part of the Toronto General Hospital, which was recently rated one of the best in the world of its kind. I don't know who gave it that rating, but it made the news, and I seem to remember that. The other 2 major hospitals in the area being Mount Sinai and Princess Margaret. And this is Gerrard Street coming up. If I'm not mistaken, I think north of Gerrard, a bike lane appears on Elizabeth Street. That, for whatever reason, does not continue south. Alright, so I think the buildings just on my left were sick kids actually, not Toronto General. And that's a Toronto General building. That's the R. Fraser Elliott building. And just to the west of here is University Avenue. Those towers off in the distance are part of College Park, and that's where I'll be headed for the end of this one. There, the painted-on bike lanes make an appearance. They've been there for as long as I can remember. I don't think they were part of any recent bike network infrastructure expansion projects. Certainly a lot more peaceful on Elizabeth Street than on York Street. And Elizabeth ends at College just up ahead, and it becomes something else. I'm trying to see if I can remember what it turns into. I think it's Emily Way. Dr. Emily Stowaway, maybe? See if I can grab a street sign to confirm that. There's a look south down Elizabeth Street. I don't see any street signs. But if it isn't Dr. Emily Stowaway, I'll put a remark in the comments. Or rather, in the video itself. I'm pretty sure it is. And on the right here is the old Victoria Hospital for Sick Children. That is now functioning as Canadian Blood Services. So this is east on College Street. There's some kind of mini march taking place. Didn't recognize what that flag was for. Some 505 Dundas streetcars diverting up to College here. I wonder what the reason for that is. I don't think there's anything going on at Dundas Square.
I think I like.
I think someone's rather impatient. Oh, that's possibly a car alarm. That looks like Pogue Mahomes is setting up a pretty nifty sidewalk patio here. I wouldn't mind dipping into there and grabbing a meal and a cold beer right now.
Erica, I will say today, of all days, like,
And this is Young and College, although it's Carlton Street, just on the other side there. And on that note, I hope you enjoyed this one, starting down by the waterfront on the first day of summer, heading up York Street and then Elizabeth Street and making my way over here to Young and College. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. If you wish to support the channel, there's links to my Patreon and YouTube channel membership in the description. There's now a super thanks button appearing. And I have an Instagram account at Johnny Strides. All right, thanks for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.